Well, hello and happy Tuesday. It is AJ Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four, where I talk about 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 p.m. newscast. If you're watching right now, I want to, of course, thank you for taking the time to spend a little of your Tuesday afternoon with me here on Before the Four. Whether it's Facebook, YouTube, the 48 Now live stream page, wherever you're watching, you are certainly greatly appreciated. But now, without further ado, I think it is time we dive into some of our top stories, plus what our reporters will be covering in our evening newscast tonight. And of course, starting things off in the Shoals, today a former Tuscumbia police officer pled guilty to manslaughter. A pre-trial hearing today for former Tuscumbia police officer Jay Stewart, who you are currently seeing on screen right now. Stewart is accused of hitting and killing a 60-year-old pedestrian while driving a police car under the influence back in October of 2022. He was indicted on the reckless murder charge in March of 23 and pleaded not guilty in April of that same year. Today, he pled guilty to manslaughter, but make sure you stick around for the latest on this situation coming up in our evening newscasts. And also, out in the Shoals, 48's Aria Pons will be bringing you all the story on another court case, this one being court appearances from capital murder suspects Sean Ryan and Travis Fallows. Fallows and Ryan were both arrested for the shooting deaths of Gary Baskins and Kayla Glover back in 2015. Learn the latest on this situation from Aria coming up in our evening newscast. And in Decatur, 48's Matthew King will be bringing you a story on graffiti containing some controversial, offensive, and racist rhetoric. Today, Matthew spoke with Decatur Councilman Hunter Pepper on the city's efforts to clean up its racist messaging after a white supremacist group graffitied the town. Make sure to stick around for updates Matthew will have for you all coming up at 4. And in Marshall County, 48 Savannah Sap is reporting on a new preschool all set to be built in the area. So make sure you stick around for that story from Savannah coming up tonight as well. In Madison, a local IVF clinic announced yesterday that it is closing its doors. In a Facebook post yesterday, Huntsville Reproductive Medicine announced the clinic will no longer be in operation after January 1st of 2025. Officials stated that patient embryos will remain safely stored while a more clear plan is later formulated. And 48's Callie Neese will be bringing you all updates on this situation, so make sure to stick around for our evening newscast for the latest from Callie. And in Huntsville, the Huntsville City Council recently approved a $2 million bus contract, which allows for 4 new buses in the Huntsville transit system. A new 1-year bus contract includes the purchase of up to 4 hybrid or diesel buses per year, with the option of 1 or 2 1-year renewable contracts. 48's Claudia Peppenhorst recently spoke with Keisha Bryant, with the Director of Parking and Public Transit, and then Bryant says the contract aligns with the city's promise to keep sustainability a top priority. Bringing in hybrid or diesel buses will result in lower emissions while also opening up the opportunity for a grant.
We have gone after what the FTA calls a low or no emission grant, and what it does is it helps public transit agencies to transition into those lower and no emission vehicles. So we did apply for that for this fiscal year. We were not awarded, but we will continue to work on our application, and we'll submit another one next year, and hopefully we will be awarded.
Well, very cool. You definitely love to see the transit system here in Huntsville only continuing to grow. Now, in case you missed it, we've recently been hearing several reports and incidents over the past few weeks relating to teen violence going on in the Shoals area. And 48's Aria Pons has been covering it all. Take a listen to Aria's most recent story yesterday of the latest Shoals incident.
We've just got to come together as a community and try to find a way to stem this violence, because it's killing our young people.
Tuscumbia Chief of Police Tony Logan says he's seen a trend in young people picking up guns and changing their lives forever. Just last week in Sheffield, a 27-year-old was shot and killed in a club called the Underground. A few weeks before that, a 16-year-old girl was shot and killed at a party in Sheffield. The suspects arrested for those murders were 23 and 18 respectively. And now, Tuscumbia police are investigating a fight that ended in gunfire, marking the third time in a month a Colbert County police agency has been called to investigate a shooting involving young people.
These are young, bright, very, very good kids that have been in their own situation, their own circumstances, and they've lost their lives for it. And not only did they lose their lives, but the person that commits the crime has pretty much lost the rest of their life because they're going to be in prison, or worse, the death penalty.
Logan says no one was actually shot during Sunday night's fight. Rather, several teenagers were fighting at the Willie Green Recreation Center, and another fired a gun in the air to break it up. However, it was initially reported to officers that a 17-year-old was grazed by a bullet.
And it's really unnerving, especially when you get situations where you got 15, 16-year-olds who aren't responsible enough to be handling a firearm and are actually carrying them and using them on their friends or acquaintances.
Well, thank you, Aria. Certainly something to keep an eye on, that is for sure. Now, in a little national politics news, the race for the White House took a detour through the social media site X, formerly known as Twitter, with former President Trump holding a freewheeling conversation with the site's billionaire owner, Elon Musk. It comes as Trump allies have encouraged him to stay focused on his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, after new polling shows him trailing her in some critical swing states. NBC's Garrett Hake has all of it covered for us. Let's take a listen.
Donald Trump overnight making a return to his old favorite megaphone, taking part in a streaming conversation on X with the site's billionaire owner, Elon Musk.
You're an interesting character.
Musk endorsing Trump again in the friendly discussion.
I think you're the right path.
Which began about 40 minutes late, plagued by technical difficulties.
My apologies for the late start.
The former president railing against his new political opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris.
We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden.
Trump suggesting Harris would be too weak to oppose foreign dictators and discussing his own negotiations with Russian President Vladimir Putin over attacking Ukraine.
I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. And I told him things that what I do. And he said, no way. And I said, way.
Mr. Trump mispronouncing Harris's name as he brought up a recent Time magazine cover on the vice president.
It was a drawing. And actually, she looked very much like our great first lady, Melania. She didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman. So we'll leave it at that.
The former president also taking aim at President Biden.
This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said, we can do it the nice way, or we can do it the hard way.
Mr. Trump, who's been courting union workers in battleground states, praising Musk, who's had mass firings and layoffs at his multiple companies.
They go on strike, and you say, that's okay, you're all gone.
The Harris campaign responding to the event overnight, saying, quote, Trump's entire campaign is in service of people like Elon Musk and himself, self-obsessed rich guys who will sell out the middle class and who cannot run a live stream in the year 2024.
Well, thank you. Now, I know it is only Tuesday, but you may already be looking into what is going on this weekend. Well, first off, one thing you can do this weekend, especially if you live out in the Shoals area, the 43rd annual Franklin County Watermelon Festival. If you didn't already know, Franklin County is the official watermelon capital of Alabama. And today I got to speak with Franklin County Chamber of Commerce Executive Director. Her name was Miss Cassie Medley. And in the 48 Now interview, Cassie spoke about everything going on at the Watermelon Festival this weekend, including musicians, car and truck shows, a fun run, and of course, a seed spitting contest. Let's take a listen. to Saturday. What all is going on Saturday that we should expect to see?
Yes, so Saturday is full from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Of course, vendors are open and going from 10 that morning, and so lots of vendors. And then on about 11 o'clock, from 1 o'clock, we'll have contests in the park, and that park is located behind Russellville First Baptist Church. So all different kinds of contests. Some of those like are best dressed, most unusual, best tasting, and one of the favorites is the seed spitting contest. So adults can participate, youth can participate, and then the thing that draws the crowd, besides the free watermelon, is the weighing of the largest watermelons. And we have two categories for that. One is for those grown in Franklin County, and then another category for those grown outside of the county.
Now that is super cool, and that's something I had never heard about before. I heard that there might be a seed spitting contest at this watermelon festival, but I wasn't for sure. But when she mentioned that, I definitely had to ask a few follow-ups about the seed spitting contest. She said contestants will shoot seeds up to like 20 feet. That is absolutely insane. I think I would spit mine and it would just drop, like probably hit my chin and then drop down. But that is super, super impressive. But super cool event this weekend, the Watermelon Festival, the 43rd annual Franklin County Watermelon Festival. You're not going to want to miss that, but super cool stuff. And you can watch that full 48 Now interview on our website. Just go over to WAFF.com, go to digital shows, and then 48 Now, and you can find all of the 48 Now interviews right there at the digital shows section of our website. But super cool. Now in some sports. Today, the Rocket City Trash Pandas announced their 2025 schedule. They will begin next year's season against the Chattanooga Lookouts on April 4th. You can view the full Trash Panda schedule on our website at WAFF.com. But that is something you can find for the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Now, I don't know about you, but I think I have Olympic fever. It's like the Olympics, they just didn't last long enough. So I'm already looking forward to the 2028 Summer Olympics, which of course will be held here in the United States. NBC has everything you need to know 4 years in advance. Let's take a listen.
With the end of the 2024 Paris Summer Olympics,
Journey to America begins.
A new countdown to the next Summer Games is already underway. In just 4 years, Los Angeles will once again take center stage as the host city of the 2028 Olympics.
We've now flipped the switch from planning to delivery.
It's been 40 years since LA last held that honor,
Carl Lewis doing it.
when Olympian Carl Lewis took home 4 gold medals right here at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. The biggest track and field stars from around the world will once again get the chance to compete in this storied venue, a feeling Lewis remembers well.
That was a life-changing thing. You'll never be this big again in your whole life. You'll never have this chance again in your whole life.
It's a venue that's over 100 years old.
Casey Wasserman is the chairman of the LA 28 committee. He says turning the Coliseum, a venue from the 32 and 84 games where Rocket Man famously flew, from a football field back into a track and field venue, will be the most expensive investment at the games, but one he believes is worth it.
To put a track back in means we have to spend about $150 million, and the track will go 14 rows into the stands. That's how big the competition field is. Because we have to put that in, we'll actually have the warm-up track underneath the track.
The Coliseum will be an important part of the opening ceremonies, but the torch will end its journey at SoFi Stadium, which will also serve as the Olympic swimming venue.
We will be underwater, literally be underwater right here?
We will definitely be underwater right where we are. It will be a swim stadium. It will be the biggest swim competition ever.
Wasserman recruited Olympian Janet Evans to help bring the games to life.
It's not lost on me that I am sitting with Janet Evans in what will be the world's largest swimming stadium.
It's incredible to look around and see the facility to see what our athletes will be experiencing. It's going to be incredible.
Putting on what will be the largest peacetime gathering in world history is no small undertaking, but there won't be any new venues built and no new permanent construction, a unique distinction. More than 80 existing venues across Southern California will hold Olympic events. Gymnastics will take place downtown at the Crypto.com Arena, and Riviera Country Club will host golf.
Welcome to Intuit Dome. It's LA's newest sports facility and the new home of the Los Angeles Clippers. 4 years from now, it'll be home to Olympic basketball and almost 18,000 fans from around the world.
Having the Olympics in the second largest city in the U.S. comes with its share of challenges, including the city's legendary traffic. Mayor Karen Bass says it's all part of the plan to make it manageable.
The games are going to be car-free, which means if you want to go to any of the venues, you're going to have to take public transportation.
For all those involved, 4 years will go fast. As for Wasserman, he's excited to make a special impact on the youngest fans.
Hopefully inspires kids to do lots of different things, sport being one of them.
My goodness, that sounds like that is going to be an awesome time. I'm going to have to make my way out there in about 4 years, 2028. Already planning it. That looks like an awesome time. SoFi Stadium, it's going to be rocking, but that is super awesome. Now, here's a fun story as we wrap up today. Meet a piglet rescued after it fell off a truck on a Las Vegas highway, appropriately named Lucky. A year later, little Lucky isn't that little anymore, thanks in part to his human family who saved him. Local News Live Shauna Khalifi introduces us. Let's take a listen.
Lucky, come on! Come on! Oh, we got treats!
What do you do when you come to see him?
Feed him treats.
Like what?
Watermelon. And popsicles.
Back in May of 2023, Rebecca Zajac and Lars Gradel were driving on the 215 when they saw this little piggy tumble out of a transport truck. It was likely on its way to a fattening farm before slaughter.
When he did the tumble onto the freeway, he just jumped right up and was investigating the freeway. So that's when I jumped out of the car and snatched him up.
They brought him here to the All Friends Animal Sanctuary. Now Lucky is free to play in the mud and explore with his team.
Lucky is definitely an escape artist. I mean, he escaped the truck. He still escapes his pen. So I think that is definitely his little curious personality.
More than a year and 300 pounds later, the bond is still strong between Lucky and the humans who saved him.
It's pretty sweet. It's nice, yeah. I just hope that he actually remembers us and knows who we are and appreciates that.
I think he does remember them. I think that he remembers that they bring him treats every time they come.
Shauna Khalifi, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
Super sweet story there. And that is what I would call a story you're just not going to want to miss. And speaking of which, why don't we talk about the stories you're just not going to want to miss in our evening newscasts tonight. The latest on Tropical Storm Ernesto happening in the North Caribbean. Stick around for that situation. Another story you're just not going to want to miss. A story about a group of kayakers spotting a shark while out on a fishing trip. And finally, you're just not going to want to miss a story about a few local groups here in the community giving out a total of $11,000 of school supplies to kids in the area. These are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss in our evening newscasts. And you're also not going to want to miss the first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis to see how the weather might pan out here in North Alabama this week. Now I believe it is time, and you all know what time it is, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the question. It is time for Facebook fun, of course. So let's see what the 48 Facebook page asked today. They said, if you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? For me, I think there's a lot of good food out there, but I think one meal for the rest of my life, I'm going to have to go with burritos. I'm just going to generalize burrito. You can do a lot with a burrito, that is for sure. But let's see what you all had to say. Virginia, she said a ribeye steak and baked potatoes. Virginia, you have very, very good taste. I like where you're going. The ribeye steak, I love ribeyes. I think my favorite steak is probably a prime rib, but ribeye is definitely in the same family. I would say it's probably a cousin to the prime rib. But Virginia, thank you so much for commenting. You have very good taste. Tammy, she said taters. It doesn't matter if it's fried, mashed, stuffed, soup, baked, or raw. Tammy has never met a spud that she does not like. Tammy, thank you so much for commenting. Jennifer Moore said, it would have to be Mexican food. I could never get tired of that. Jennifer, I like how you think. I like how you think, Jennifer. Could not agree more. Yeah, I agree 100%. Jennifer, thank you for commenting. Finally, Mark said, whatever my wife cooked and told me to eat. Very smart man. Smart man. Mark is a smart man. Mark, thank you so much for commenting. But that is just about all the time I have in today's Before the Four. I want to thank you all for sticking around with me, spending a little bit of your Tuesday afternoon with me. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you download the 48 digital app, the 48 Sports Zone app, and of course, the 48 First Alert Weather app. Turn on those push notifications and get the breaking news delivered directly to you. But I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your night. Enjoy tonight's newscast and do something fun tonight. Do something for you tonight. Just have a great time. But of course, that is all the time I have. But I want to thank you for watching. You all have a great night.